All right, guys, I just had to share this. It's the middle of the night and I couldn't sleep. And I came across this from a link on Mickey's YouTube Shorts account. And I think you should all take a look at this URL. I haven't had a lot of time to look at it, but from what I can tell, this is legit him. And it's outstanding. I'll have to verify it with the text chain I have with his group that this is actually his, but I can't believe that it isn't. It's very specific if you go through all the stuff on here. Why would I share this? We're all here to do the same thing. There's a lot here you can read on your own. But there's stuff I wanted to show you real quick. Okay. Give me a second to relocate it. There's a lot here. It's very in-depth. Some of it's prior stories and whatever, you know. But where this gets interesting, you can join the community. And what's curious to me is there's only 10,000 members. I mean, there should be millions in my eyes. I think about my own page and how I only have 8,900 views. Now I know he gets way more views than that. And to only have 10,000 members, like community payouts? What is all this, right? But this thing right here is what caught my eye. Everything I'm trying to do for us. He's said for a while that he has a system that he was willing to sell to the highest bidder. For a long time he said that. And it seems to be he doesn't even care about selling it. He's just willing to share it and say, fuck it. If I can't beat them, everyone will, right? It's a little scary because, you know, what if it just completely changed the game of Baccarat? What if they just did away with Baccarat, right? I don't think that'll ever happen. But if you're able to be successful, keep a low profile, and don't overdo it, you know. But what I found was interesting is a lot of what he's saying is about pattern recognition. And isn't that everything I've been teaching in the past 7, 8, 10 months, right? Pattern recognition, right? Let me look here. Strategy. How does his system work? Claims to beat Baccarat through pattern recognition, dealer observation, and strategic timing, not card counting. He watches tables for hours without betting, identifies patterns in dealer shuffling and card distribution that places massive bets only when conditions align. Similar to what we're doing, right? Waiting for seconds, waiting for things not to go side by side, waiting for some qualifying event that allows you to start betting. He says he watches tables for hours without betting. I'm not going to do that, right? But I'm not going to fault success either. So, I don't understand what that would be about. But It's very simply put. Traditional gambling math says Baccarat is unbeatable, but he's verifiably won millions and has been banned from 150 plus casinos. He doesn't even call it gambling. He calls it execution. I like that. I agree. We're biding our time and we're looking at what's going on, and then we're capitalizing on it. And then when it fails to proceed to produce, then it's done. And he'll even talk about the stop goal, stop loss, stop everything. There's a lot here that I'm not going to break down in a video. I'll go to this website and just be prepared, like, to go down a wormhole of information and look at it from an open mind. Breaks down exactly what Mickey claims to do, why traditional math says it shouldn't work, and what it does, what the evidence suggests about whether Baccarat is truly beatable. This is just a lot of reading, but past results don't reflect future outcomes. No kidding. That's just a blunt point. Like, whatever you're working for now could stop at any time. What he's saying is there's things that can work all the time until they don't. I can't speak for him. You know what I mean? There's a lot here. I'm just skimming through. See, I don't know about all that, but sure. Here's what I find interesting. The pattern recognition. He lists this first, but then he goes right to pattern recognition, right? Mechanical predictability is in bold there, and how shoes are shuffled. This is distinct from the gambler's fallacy. He's not betting on streaks, he's betting on human execution flaws. To me, pattern recognition is what's going on in the game, but maybe he's just doing a roundabout way of saying that. When patterns align, he bets heavy. This isn't gradual grinding, it's surgical execution. He doesn't play for hours, he plays for minutes, extracting what he does. And he said this ad nauseum in many videos, so I believe that to be accurate. But what do I say? Similar stuff, right? In these play series that I've started to do for us all, and there's only a few of us in our group. Good. We don't need thousands of people knowing what we're trying to do, guys. We don't. How many seats are there at a table? 6, 7 at most? Unless you're on a big box, you might have 10 or 11. That's not a lot. You don't need that much competition out there. But you can all be on the same table together and kick their ass. But anyway, what are they going to do? Tell the whole table to stand up and go away? But he's saying it's surgical, and that's kind of what I'm doing, right? And I'm not saying I'm him by any means, but you see the results that I get, and you can see that it's pretty consistent. And there's obviously going to be moments where stop loss should come into play and you should stop and realize it's just a moment in time. The identification of whatever the surgical strike was going to be in that instance may not have worked, and so be it. But if it does, because something's panning out the same, Mickey has a video somewhere where he says about he had his conversation with the guy, and he's like, I've been watching the game for a long time, and I've never seen some of the things that I see now in the game. Well, without going into a long-winded explanation of what he's trying to say, he's like, isn't it funny how the thing stops the same way every time? Think about how I talked about, for example, the 3-4 chop. How it would come down 3 bank and it would stop right on 3 bank every time. Or 4, whatever it is. He would identify something that would have a commonality, and he would strike for it the next time it happened. And it doesn't mean it was going to win, but it could. And you're just, I suppose, coincidence. That might not be what he's doing. I can't speak for him, but it's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for a commonality in the chaos, right? And I do it with the pretense that if it works the first 2 times, I've guaranteed the win, right? Especially recently. If I win those 2 first big bets, and I'm able to split that second one up into 5 parts, and I only give 2 of those 5 parts back, well, I still have the other 3 parts of that if I'm flat betting. And I still have the entire other 5 parts of the other big unit for a total of 8 micro units, as it were. But if it wins, even twice more after those first 2 big ones, then I've secured the victory altogether, and we just continue to milk them until that stops. And he'll even say there is a stop win goal, disappear before detection. After winning, he doesn't return for weeks. He says this prevents. I mean, he was playing with big money, so he didn't want to be like, drawing attention all the time. Don't forget what happened to me. I turned a few hundred into 11,000 in a week, and they realized what I had did in the past that one June into July, and they're like, he ain't starting this shit again. It's destroying us. And they pushed me off for a year. So we gotta go in and be careful about what's really going on. I don't even know if that's why they pushed me off. They're just jerks. But I never saw them do that to anybody but me. Not personally. Not like that. And everyone's asking about me when they'd see me in Canada. They'd be like, how are you? You should see what they're doing with the table minimums now. Like, they changed everything since I've been gone. Anyway, that's my problem. But, he'll move around. He'll go different places. And what do I say? If it's not working in one place, go to another. Even if it is, that shoe's over. You're not going to sit there and keep playing after you've already extracted it. You go to a different one. Different table, different whatever. And he mixes his game up. It's not always the same thing. And it's situational, right? Just like, one shoe will be all player or another shoe will be all bank, just to be very blunt and obvious. Like, you're looking for different things. He's different buying methods and now plays under other people's accounts since he's banned from 150 plus properties. This goes back to what I was telling you about before. A while back, I had mentioned that he reached out to me, and he has a team that follows up with people that aren't necessarily in a position to do that right now, but might be in the future. I'm in no position to do what he would need to do because of credit lines and what have you, but he has people out there that, you know, he will work with and fund their accounts, and he'll tell them, what to do, and as long as they're able to, you know, break them off a little piece, he'll keep paying them, and they'll keep winning, and he'll keep winning. And you'd be silly to just run off with the whatever money he gives you, because it's a cash cow that never ends. He'll just keep feeding you. I hope to be able to have that at some point, not right now. But you're literally playing with house money. He's literally, this right here in the yellow, just before that, he plays under other people's accounts since he's banned from 150 properties. So what that could mean, and I don't know for certain, but he might be using their account online. No, he can't be, because he doesn't play online. I don't know how it works exactly. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it works. There's some proprietary way that he's doing that, but he's funding other people's accounts either way, and they're winning, and then he's winning indirectly. It's fucked up. I'd like to be one of those people. But I just want you to know what's out here in the world. This is legit. He's legit, and that's why I've always defended him on my site. Like, people are haters in general. People are always going to say things about people that are successful that aren't. People used to hate me. I'd have my name called for contest after contest that I won something because I had so many entries in there. I'm like, motherfucker, how do you think I had all these entries in these contests? I was fucking winning. But whatever. Everything goes in phases. Mickey's approach requires massive capital. Here's why. Okay. That's crazy, right? Look what he's talking about here. To survive variance. Isn't that one of my most common words? But why so much? Even with an edge, you can still lose in a single session. So, you need enough capital to survive losing streaks until patterns align again. This is what I'm talking about, guys. I'm not on his level by any means, but this is what I'm talking about. Capital to survive losing streaks until patterns align again. Shit happens, right? Look at this in the red. If you don't have this in liquid capital, the system is irrelevant. Trying to replicate it will result in ruin. The first time variance goes against you because he's betting hyper aggressive is why. He's in there to hit it and quit it though. If he can win once or twice with that kind of money, he's out. Well, isn't that what we're trying to do right now on a small level, right? I'm saying get 2 perps, reduce to the black, get a couple black, and get out. And if you lose the couple black, you're still getting out with 750, right? But much like Mickey says about needing millions of friggin' dollars or whatever, I'm talking about a much smaller amount, but you have to have it built up. You can't just go in there with $1,000 or something and think you're going to split that up and win a whole bunch. Because, to be fair, if you were willing to break it up, if you had a place where you could break it up into $25 units and then break it down from there into $5 units, I don't know anyone that has $5 tables. So you see why you have to have capital built up to have a 40 unit structure. Now his structure might be more than that. I'd have to go back and look at his number here. I don't want to make this too long either. You can read all this for yourself. Um, anyway, crazy shit. Now, there's a thing you can sign up for through Telegram or something. I've never used that. And you can be a part of the community to get in on the ins and outs of how he does things. I don't know that that's safe to use Telegram. I've never used it. But that's something that's on here too. I'm questioning. It's very third person, like in its explanation, right? So there's like another person that's writing all this out for him, and they're saying this is what he's offering, and they're also saying don't think like you can just do this yourself. They're saying even if a system works, you likely can't execute it because you don't have the capital required to survive the variance. You don't have 5+ years of pattern recognition training. You don't have casino host relationships to negotiate the hand limits, and you'll get banned immediately if you try to replicate it at scale for your own level, he's saying. You know what I mean? Even if you're not playing at his level and you try to do it at a lower level amount and you do it just like this, they're going to see it and be like, we know what this kind of bullshit is. Fuck this guy. You know, just like they try to do to blackjack players or stuff like that. You know, those are the most common pushed off people in the world. But we ain't worried about no blackjack. But he shares in his free Telegram. This is what I was saying. He shares his free Telegram community. Sorry about that. But he doesn't promise that he will replicate his results. He's transparent that his system requires resources of X amount people don't have. What you can learn: bankroll management principles, bet sizing, and risk of ruin. When to walk away. Most gamblers don't quit when they're ahead. What do I keep preaching to you? You need to. And frankly, this is 100% accurate because I never did. Never did. Even when I was doing extremely well, I didn't. And that's the only reason I get the notifications for DoorDash that just came up on the top of my screen. I haven't been able to sleep today. I've been up all fucking night, literally. Because I found this. And it's just, it's good and it's bad. It's good because it verifies everything that I've been saying to us, you know. And look at this. Transparency matters, like he says. He shows losses, not just wins. Don't I do the same? On my page, I show you when things are working, and I tell you, I'm not here to bullshit you. Here's what happens when it doesn't work. And you have to be prepared and identify where it's no longer qualified so you can just stop. There's a lot here. There's a lot here. I mean, be prepared to spend some time looking at this page. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling all this. This, you go up here to these 3 lines up here, and you know there's all these different things you can go back and look at it. A lot of this I'm already familiar with, net worth and all this. This is kind of flexing, whatever. It's cool though. If you don't know his story, I recommend looking at it. Just you see his credibility. A lot of people are all about tearing down his credibility. It has these strategy calculators. I like this bankroll calculator thing. I started looking at it. It's a little ambiguous right there until you probably get the explanation. But you know, it's like I say, you can play with the little stuff, you can play with the big stuff, but you got to be prepared to get out. And proper session size, catch runs well, protect, yeah. Lock in wins. Reach your win goal, take the profit. The table will always be there tomorrow. I mean, that right there is a summation of everything. And don't chase your losses. Hit your stop loss, walk away. Come back tomorrow with a fresh session bankroll. Just come back tomorrow with a fresh state of mind. And that's why I even started to say, we're just going to get one unit of shoe, right? Like when I did the non-side-by-side run series. I'm like, at the end of that series, I'm like, we're just going to get one and we're going to call it a day. And we're going to pretend we're walking out and going to the cage. And then they're going to say, you're leaving already? I'm like, yeah, I just took all this from you. I'm going to go cash out. We did that 13 days in a row on the first try after identifying the pattern recognition, right? 13 days in a row. And then the 14th day, everything was a lot different. But it took 14 days for them to find one bad day. But remember, it just takes one exponentially bad day to undo 13 good days. So you have to be able to clip that when it's not working and just let it go, because it's not going to define you. And you track everything. You keep detailed records of every session. I used to write, like I said, I used to write it all on my calendar. It's on my old phone. I had exact accounts of what I did every single day. Every single day that I was there, win or lose. So I could be accountable to myself, because when there's that much up and down, you don't remember what you did one day to the next. You're just worried about your bottom line, But you could see what was working. Now, what I could have taken a step further is, as far as keeping detailed records of every session, I could have said exactly what systems were working that day that I like to employ. It'd be like, well, this one was fire that day. This thing didn't. And then you get an idea of what's probably the best things to use maybe over time. You gotta treat it like a business, And it sounds silly to say that. I get it, but you do. And this guy's a professional, guys. So let me see if I can find anything else quick before I end the video. Sorry, 27 minutes. I'd play around with the site though and look around. It's a little bit of reading, but it's more as history, right? Can you see without cause? Yes. Casinos can refuse service to anyone with limited exceptions. Here's the legal breakdown. You can read all this on your own time. Most jurisdictional private property owners have the right to refuse entry or service to anyone as long as the refusal is not based on a protected class, blah, blah, blah. Being too good at gambling is not a protected class. If a casino thinks you're an advantaged player, they can ban you without explanation. So it goes back to what I said before, guys, about having a low profile. If even with the little stuff that I've been able to show you is giving you any kind of instant success right now, try to not sit there and treat it like you're a worker, right? In finger quotes, a worker. Like you don't want them looking at you like you're just coming in to punch a clock and take their money and go home. I mean, technically you are, but you want that to be a stop, a very short clock. You don't want to be there for hours just milking them for everything they got, because that's going to get their attention and they can ban you without explanation. And then once you're banned, whether it's temporary or permanently, the casino will formally trespass you. I have the yellow card that my casino gave me in my spare wallet where I haven't looked at it since they gave it to me. I won't look at it. I won't even give it the time of day. I won't even give it the credit that they did that. But what I do know is it says I can come back in a year. So they're not trying to get rid of me, but they're trying to just, maybe their quarterly was killing them and they just didn't want to finish bad for their fiscal fucking quarter or whatever it was. So I can't go back until now the end of January 2026, and I won't even be back then because I frankly won't be ready to. But um it's just the fact of the matter. They they're gonna be fucked because I'm gonna have another person with me, whoever it is, that's gonna be able to touch my chips for me. And when I hit my stop win goal, they're gonna have permission to grab my chips, and we're gonna walk out together, and we're gonna just have a good laugh every day that we go home and say we fucked them again. And it doesn't even have to be a lot. Like I've already said to you, any amount over 30 days multiplies over time. Pick any stupid amount you want in your brain, multiply it times 30. Do that for 3 months. Tell me how you're doing. I think about just fucking DoorDash, bro. If I was making just shitty $200 a day, that's 6,000 a month. I should be making 18,000 every 3 months, but I don't because fucking deer try to kill me and I have all kinds of other problems. But um, anyway, this is a fact though, guys. Like if you return, you could be arrested for criminal trespassing. And this is the stuff that it'll say on your notice on the car. And this is what they're saying that they'll read to you. I had two security people come down to me, and I've said this in a prior video about a host, whatever. This is a legal process where security reads you a trespass notice. You're no longer welcome on the property. If you return, you will be arrested for criminal trespassing. Your photo will be added to the casino's facial recognition database. If you violate the trespass notice, you can be arrested and prosecuted. This has happened to Mickey multiple times. So this is, people just explaining. He doesn't have to sit there and type it all out himself. Somebody on his team is writing this all out for him, right? Even though this sounds very third person, like it's him. It's most certainly him. This is all very specific information. Um, in case you think you're just gonna get cute and get caught, listen, I've seen people chased out that aren't supposed to be there before. And says the same thing. Facial recognition flags you. Security's alerted within seconds. Computers are crazy now. They know you. They know as soon as you come in. I haven't dared try. Because I know better. Security detains you. You're escorted to a back room. Not arrested yet. Police are called. You're cited for criminal trespassing. Some have some off-duty police officers on site, so they have the authority to, do that. But you try to run out, I guess. I don't know. I don't recommend doing it at all. If you get trespassed, you better not fucking go back. But if you try to play whilst banned, any winnings that you've made would be confiscated. Casinos argue you obtain them through illegal means because you're not supposed to be there. And apparently, if you do it repeated times, you could have jail time. The first offense is usually a misdemeanor citation, but repeat violations can lead to arrest. That's fucking crazy, right? Mickey has been detained multiple times for violating trespass notices because he tries to call their bluff. Fucking guy's banned from everywhere. It's like, what do I have to lose? I'm already banned. I'm just trying to win. And he already knows they're coming. The second he comes in, it's like, here we go. And he has someone pull their phone out and just film the whole thing. But anyway. Or he'll have a hidden camera on someone, Some of his bans were for legitimate reasons, winning millions. Others were hilariously absurd. Here are the most ridiculous official reasons casinos gave. See, now this touching forks one, you've probably seen shorts of him talking about this one. He's said this multiple times. So these things that I've seen on his page lead me to believe this is definitely his. So I don't have any reason to believe this isn't him. There's a lot of specifics here. And just because you want to join his community doesn't mean he's going to let you in either. So I I was contacted directly over text, and I respectfully declined several times. They keep following up with me. I'm like, dude, I ain't on that level. I don't want to insult you. I don't want to waste anybody's time, and I appreciate that you follow up with me. But I'm like, I ain't what he's wanting, you know. And that might be why he only has 10,000 people that signed up for this, because one, people are just scared. People are just whatever, um, they don't feel like they matter or qualify enough to even put in to look at it. But, you know, learn the system. Let's click on that. I didn't click on this yet. Controversial method, the system. He ain't going to give me any answers here, but you know, the summary of it is such that Mickey Mace claims to beat Baccarat through pattern recognition, dealer observation, and strategic timing, not card counting. And he watches the tables to see what's going on. Traditional gambling math says Baccarat is unbeatable, but Mickey has verifiably won millions and been banned from 150 casinos for his methods. You already know what I did in 40 days on a much smaller level than what he's done. But I did it myself in 40 days, so I don't doubt what he's saying is true. Nor do I doubt that he's been banned, because I've seen videos of it done in person where he's walked right out. So, he says he doesn't call it gambling. He calls it execution, which is, if you can see it there, it's in bold. I mean, I'm filming this on my phone, so I don't know but it's there in bold print, execution. Over 5 years, he claims to have won 32 million from casinos using a system based on pattern recognition, dealer observation, and strategic timing, right? That's all my playlists are based around that kind of idea. Even when I'm playing for a certain system that I've designed, I'll say something else that I'm seeing at the same time, and I get upset that I'm not playing for this when this is happening, or I'm not playing for this when this is happening. But what do I always say? You gotta put that shit to the side sometimes, because you can't play for everything, or you'll end up with nothing. So you have to be selective, and that's why Mickey says here himself, you know, strategic timing. So the observation, the pattern recognition, like you're just waiting there for something to be on the same level the whole time, and you just try for it. It's going to win or it's going to lose. And you could say that about any single hand. But what I find is very interesting is there are a number of shoes, not every shoe, but there's a lot of shoes where something's always the same variable every single time. And we can work with that. I've texted my wife while I'm actually at a casino sometimes. I said, listen, this is never going past two a player. I can capitalize on that, you know. So what the hell? Oh, I got a ghost in my room. So that's what I'm talking about. This page breaks down exactly what Mickey claims to do, why traditional canon doesn't work. So there's a lot here. This is supposed to be the system, but you might have to just read this all yourself. I haven't really gone through this yet. I don't think he's going to list any specific thing here. This is nothing you don't already know. Casinos try to tell you it's unbeatable. Professional gamblers and mathematics agree. Baccarat can't be beaten long term. That again is in bold print. Long term. Baccarat can't be beaten long term through traditional advantage play techniques. Because card counting doesn't work. It's pointless. You can't use it in Baccarat. Past results don't affect future outcomes, even though I will sometimes play for that on my own things. There's no guarantee. Like he says, the banker won 7 times in a row. Pattern means nothing. Well, I don't like long runs anyway, but he's like, each hand's independent. This is basic probability theory and the gambler's fallacy. The house edge never disappears, even if you bet perfectly. The 1.06 edge grinds you down over time. So, math doesn't care about systems. The industry consensus, every professional gambling expert from blah, blah, blah. If Mickey found an edge, it's not through traditional advantage play. What he claims. Now, again, this is third person because somebody's writing this for him. He claims they actively cheat and that the reverse engineered, and he reverse engineered the methods to beat them. Here's his approach. Observe without betting. Mickey watches tables for hours before placing a single bet. He's looking for a dealer tells that they don't know. I don't know, man. Like, dealers don't know what the fuck's going on. Shoe flows, though, is what I agree with. Statistical deviations from expected banker player distributions. So, like, you see things that are happening the same way every time. You can work with that, kind of like what we've been doing. Pit boss behavior, how staff reacts to wins and losses. I don't know, like, that they have a map on their little podium. I've joked about that sometimes on my videos. Like, they go back to the little podium and do some little movements with their hand on there. Like, they're just, maybe they're counting, your progress or whatever. But maybe they have a map of how the shoe's supposed to come out based on the shuffler. But I don't see how they would know that unless it was an automatic shuffler. Where I normally play, it's a hand shuffle. I mean, it's an automatic shuffle till it comes out of the machine, and then when it goes in, it goes into a plastic shoe. It doesn't have it where there's a machine spitting out the cards or potentially moving the cards like it might be doing in Canada. I can't verify that, but just things I'm thinking about. Unlike traditional pattern betting, which doesn't work. Splittable dealers, mechanical predictability, and how shoes are shuffled. He's not betting on streaks. He's betting on human execution flaws. I don't get that. The only human execution flaw there could be is if they misdeal the hand because the 38 special comes out and they deal a third card or something they're not supposed to deal. I don't know, but when patterns align, Mickey bets 100,000 and 250,000 per hand. That's sick. This isn't gradual grinding; it's surgical execution. But that's like what I'm saying. It goes back to what I said before. We're just looking for something that stays the same, and we strike for it. If it continues to work, we continue to get paid. The second it stops, that's the stop loss. It no longer works anymore, especially if it's back-to-back hands. I just go to another shoe. He plays for minutes, extracting what he wants, and then leaves. He doesn't sit there for hours. Disappear before detection. After winning, he doesn't return for weeks. This prevents them from studying his play or adjusting their procedures. He rotates between places using different buy-in methods and now plays under other people's accounts since he's banned everywhere. So it goes on to explain, what he uses for his, buy-ins. And obviously this is like monopoly money to most people, but it's still interesting to read. But he says, why does he need that much? It's for variance. And that's like what I say, you have to have enough to weather the storm, right? You can't predict it. So it's not like you just walk in there with $100,000 and lay it on the table, think you're going to win, because if you lose, you're out all that money, Same thing with $1. Same thing with $5. Whatever it is. Like if that's all you went in there with and you lose, well, bye, you're done. So you have to have capital that you're able to split up. I would say no less than 40 units. And so after explaining his bankroll structure, which is extravagant, does it actually work? The evidence is mixed. Let's separate what's proven from what's claimed. And he goes on to say what he's done, and what's been reviewed about him personally. They can't document that he's done anything to cheat. He just wins too much. Documented losses. 30. See, now this almost looks like it's throwing shade, like that this wasn't Mickey's site itself, because they're trying to say what's unverified. Maybe he's just being very open-ended, you know. Maybe he's low-key trying to say this is what other people say. What's unverified? 32 total, only 10 million verified casino cheating allegations. Casinos deny this. Specific pattern recognition methods not disclosed in detail. Well, no, he's not gonna disclose everything he's ever done, because he doesn't need everyone in the world knowing how he's done it. He's not gonna give away the golden goose to everybody. I try to do it for you guys, to a degree. I try to tell you what I think makes sense, and you can see ways that it does. Anyway, just reading through this. There's a lot here that you'd have to read on your own, but can you replicate this? Yeah, we talked about this already. You'll get banned immediately if you try to replicate this at a lower scale, because it's, you know, you gotta, you can't sit there and let them study you and what you're doing. You don't want them, you want them to think you just got lucky and walked out, right? So like a lot of those things that I'm doing where I just win 2 units and I break it down into 5 smaller units. If I lose a couple of smaller ones, I just net the difference and I can go. Once I win those first 2 units, I'm guaranteed to win for the day, as long as they're significant units. So, what you can learn, he says: bankroll management principles, bet sizing, risk of ruin, when to walk away. Most gamblers don't quit when they're ahead. How casinos think when they ban winners, why they ban winners, and how they track play. No, I used to boast about it and point at the screen to my fellow players. And I think that's why they pushed me off, quite honestly, is because I would sit there and I would explain to a table full of my peers that I respected. And like, I'd even say to the dealers themselves who play off, in other places, I'm like, this is what you look for, you know. Or I'd have a perfectly choppy shoe, or I'd get really animated. I'd be like, you look at that and tell me how you lose that on a 1-2 bet, just betting the opposite when it's never going 3-12 across. You wouldn't even have needed that many units to get out for the day if you did that every day. Follow. But anyway, there's a lot here. There's these guides, bankroll management. There's all kinds of stuff here. I'm going to cut it there because it went a little longer than I wanted it to, but I wanted to get this out there. This will probably go under my Real Talk series. But there's a lot here. You should look it up. Take care.